Elon Musk says he saved Twitter from bankruptcy after extremely tough 3 months. So let's get right into it. Elon Musk said that the last 3 months were extremely tough as he scrambled to save Twitter from bankruptcy while also running his other companies, Tesla and SpaceX. The billionaire's frank admission followed his past warnings about dire financial conditions at Twitter since he purchased the struggling social media platform for $44 billion last October, which he paid way too much money for Twitter. Wouldn't wish that pain on anyone, Musk tweeted Sunday regarding the difficult stretch. Twitter still has challenges, but is now trending to break even if we keep at it. Public support is much appreciated, he added. And Musk tempered his optimistic forecast in a separate tweet, noting that Twitter is still definitely not financially healthy yet, but is trending to be so in the future. And lots of work still needed to get there, he said. And Twitter's daily revenue plunged 40% last month compared to January 2022 as the many of the company's top advertisers stopped or pulled back on spending. According to tech news site Platformer, there have been estimates that Twitter's ad revenue declined by as much as 70% last December year over year, Reuters reported. And in a meeting last November, Musk warned Twitter staffers that the company could declare bankruptcy if it could not fix a revenue shortfall. That same month, Musk said Twitter was losing $4 million per day after an exodus of major advertisers caused a massive drop in revenue. Twitter has since rolled out a revamped version of its Blue subscription service under which users can pay $8 per month for account verification and other perks in a bid to boost revenue. And Musk has also ordered sharp cost-cutting measures at Twitter in a push that included rounds of layoffs and a reduction in everything from office perks to janitorial services at the company's San Francisco headquarters. Twitter's remaining employees were required to opt in to a hardcore work environment or leave the company. Musk has confirmed the search for a successor as Twitter CEO is already underway, though he hasn't provided an exact timeline for when he will step aside. In addition to his responsibilities at Twitter, Musk was recently called to take the stand as a key witness in a trial with Tesla shareholders. The shareholders had alleged that a 2018 tweet in which Musk claimed to have funding secured to take Tesla private had caused them to suffer massive losses after the deal never materialized. But this is what's so funny, though, right? Because if all those shareholders are still shareholders today of Tesla, the amount of money that they probably made is beyond imagination, right? Like Tesla has gained like crazy amounts compared to where it was at 2018, right? So if they're still holding their shares, they're definitely not hurting in terms of financials. A San Francisco jury ruled in Musk's favor last Friday, determining that he was not liable for misleading investors with the 2018 tweet. Last year, Musk became the first person in history to lose $200 billion in personal wealth, a plunge that coincided with his costly Twitter deal and a sharp drop in Tesla shares during a major sell-off in the tech sector. Tesla has since rallied, with shares surging 75% since the start of 2023, and last quarter the company reported a record profit of $3.7 billion. Which, here's the thing, if Tesla is able to continue making a profit, that is going to be massive for them and massive for their shares. Let's see some of these comments. What an egomaniac. Where would we be without Elon and Twitter? Twitter was hemorrhaging cash. Now we know that it was being run as Jack's Magic Coffee Shop where they lose money on every order. There were conspiracy theories that Twitter was kept running as an influence propaganda outfit, but that of course was crazy talk. We know that it was not just indirectly sponsored by, but actually paid by the government to follow the government's orders. Many very large cash-rich corps that want to avoid adverse government action found that sending money to Twitter served as a nice proxy for sending money directly to three-letter agencies, which basically this is all revealed due to the Twitter files basically getting exposed and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's not shocking, right? Like it wasn't shocking beforehand, but when the information basically got leaked, it's like, oh, so they actually are doing it. If you follow Elon, you can make a small fortune. I know my family's financial security has come a long way in the last 2 years of the Trump presidency. It has slowed with Biden, but still earning. Twitter desperately needed the Elon touch of reality. See, I think the craziest thing about the whole Twitter situation, in terms of like the money of Twitter and whatnot, they were just bleeding cash, hiring massive amounts of employees that did not work. Like, they did not work. Like, if you stumble upon this, you know that there's so many social media posts about like the day in the life of like a Twitter employee, and these people basically spent like no time actually doing any amount of work, and they were making what, like 100,000 a year, 150,000, $150,000 a year, or $200,000 a year. It's like, imagine you had a company and you were paying someone $150,000 a year, and all they basically did every day was go to like two meetings, drink coffee, drink wine, go work out, eat brunch, snack, etc. And that's basically all they basically did for their work. Like, to me, that's just crazy. And also, there's been many reports that a lot of Twitter employees didn't even show up for work like more than like 4 hours a week, or even 4 hours like a month. Like, it's some crazy stuff. If you can fire half your workforce and the company still runs fine, it was overstaffed, overinflated, and potentially over budget. He did the obvious thing to save it. Like, here's the thing. I still don't even understand why they have this, like the amount of employees that they have right now. I think they still have a few thousand employees. Like, what are all these thousand employees actually doing? Because in my mind, I think of like Stripe, which I think only has like 10 or 20 employees, but they're one of the biggest payment processors ever, ever created, right? They do billions and billions of dollars worth of transactions, and they got what, like 10 or 20 employees. And yet you have to have like thousands of employees to run a social media website. It just seems kind of crazy to me. I feel like you could just automate a lot of this stuff. You could outsource a lot of the content moderation in terms of like just illegal content, right? To get rid of that. It's like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I still think a lot of these social media companies are just spending so much money on labor when they shouldn't be. Because I just don't understand it. Like, I don't understand paying people multiple six figures to work at Twitter, like thousands of them, for doing what? Hey Elon, when's the amnesty? I refuse to make a fake account just to give you business. Elon burning money for a vanity project. The thing is, Elon Musk said basically what his big plan was in terms of for Twitter. And he wants to make the what, like the App X thing or whatever, basically a WeChat clone. Like, he basically wants people to rely on using his app for daily activities. Like, imagine you had to go through Twitter to buy food, pay for Ubers, do your insurance, pay your utility bills, right? Apply for a job, etc. Like, if you had to do the daily stuff or things that you just normally do throughout your life through Twitter or the X app or whatever he's going to create, the amount of money that it would be generating would be insane. Like, it would basically cause Elon Musk to probably be, one, the richest human being ever existed, but then two, the most powerful human being that ever existed as well.